Pay attention. You put your value. If President Trump wanted to inflate his net worth on a statement of financial condition, his brand alone could double, triple it. It's basic. It's basic. This is a waste of time. We heard testimony from an expert this week. Miss James wasn't here for that day because it wasn't good for her. He's been paid by New York taxpayer dollars $450,000 in the past few months to come here and testify. That's your money. That's not my money. It is a crime. And now these children are being brought in away from their families for doing nothing wrong. It's a great company. It has always been a great company. It's worth a lot more than the statements say, and she just doesn't like it. And now her politics don't allow her to back off or back down.
Tonight, the former president's eldest sons entering court together with a wave and a thumbs up. On the witness stand, Donald Trump Jr. and his brother Eric both insisting, though they did run the family real estate business, they did not keep an eye on the bottom line and were unaware the documents they signed artificially inflated the value of their properties.
I'm apparently guilty of fraud for relying on my accountants to do, wait for it, accounting. You pay experts millions of dollars to be experts. You sign off on what they give you, and you're liable.
Trump and his kids are on trial for committing real estate fraud in New York, but testimony from one case might negatively impact another legal case.
She should be an advocate for businesses that pay a lot of taxes and do great things and meet their commitments and pay off their debts. She should be an advocate of that. She should also go out and fight for the little guys as opposed to trying to be an advocate of Deutsche Bank, who literally loves us, who said we have done absolutely nothing wrong.
Eric was asked how his testimony went, and he said the last few days have gone great.
In true Trumpian fashion, Trump and his kids are refusing to accept responsibility for the crimes committed within Trump Org, blaming everyone from their attorneys and their accountants for the fraudulent property values they're currently on trial for, and coming up with the most out-of-touch reasons for not being able to testify.
Well, we were on the air in the last hour. We learned through your social media, and then we went and looked at it ourselves. The New York Attorney General's counsel has shown a document that shows that former President Trump restored himself as a trustee in his company on January 15th, 2021. Of that, you write this, quote, "This document could be hugely important to Jack Smith and Fani Willis. It would show that Trump knew, at least as of January 15th, 2021, that he had not won the election and was returning to his private life and business."
When Don Jr. was asked about the Trump revocable trust, Don Jr. stated under oath that his father took over the trust just after leaving the White House on January 15th, 2021, about a week after the Capitol insurrection. Prior to that, while Trump was president, his CFO, Alan Weisselberg, and his son, Don Jr., were in charge of the trust. That means that Trump, while publicly claiming to have won the 2020 election and while publicly claiming to still be the president, made a move to resume his role within the private business. The implication there is that Trump did actually know that he hadn't won the election because he was actively moving himself from the public sector back to the private sector. This is corroborated by testimony from others within the Trump administration who claimed that Trump did privately acknowledge he lost the election at times, but now there's documented evidence of those claims. The rest of the testimony in the fraud trial seems to show that not only was fraud committed, but it was done so intentionally, a revelation that legal experts say is not great for the Trumps. While Don Jr. and Eric Trump tried to pass the blame onto those beneath them in the company, documents presented during the trial showed that the Trump brothers were involved in approving the falsified financial statements. Don Jr.'s signature was all over financial documents, including a 2017 loan document from Deutsche Bank, but he said he didn't recall signing them. Eric was also caught giving contradictory testimony. He testified in court that he had given the company's in-house comptroller financial statements, but then they showed him his prior video deposition in which he said that he hadn't provided the comptroller with any statements. Eric then had to backtrack. Throughout his testimony, he was reportedly combative and defensive, even at one point raising his voice at the prosecutor. So now analysts and experts are asking, who's actually responsible for the falsified financial statements? The Trumps at the top or the attorneys and the accountants who work for them? Who committed a crime intentionally and with malicious intent? Who committed perjury while on the stand, Eric? And of course, the classic, who knew what when? All of these questions and more are sure to be answered in the coming days, so keep an eye out. That's it for me. If you got anything out of this, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and please check out my podcast, Modern Context.